Welcome to Rich Thoughts, Poor Jokes, the podcast where meaningful conversations about mental wealth meet a healthy dose of humor. Each week, your hosts, Dr. Roxy Riefkohl-Cook and Dr. Stephanie Ellis, two of Houston's most respected doctors of counseling and psychology, coach you on the path to mental wealth. They will not just inspire, but entertain you while empowering you to elevate your life.
Welcome back to our series all about brain wealth. We've been talking to you about executive functioning skills, and we want to go out with a bang, give you some advanced executive functioning skills. Look, we do know it's a lot of information. Our job is to just give you little baby bits so that you can start thinking about these things for yourself. These tasks that we're going to cover today, they're pretty important, though, right?
Yeah, y'all remember a couple weeks ago when you were like, why are these ladies laying so much foundation? Won't they just tell us things? Just give us some bullet points. Well, today's the day. We're going to give you so many bullet points today.
That's right. So,
all right,
let's start with prioritizing. So this is designating tasks in order of importance.
remember last week when I was like, maybe this thing's called the Eisenhower Matrix? It is. It is called the Eisenhower Matrix. That is that internet phenomenon about the little windows where things can be important or urgent or both or neither. And that's great. I mean, that's a tool. A lot of people use it. It works. I don't know of a lot of people who are messing around in their unimportant, not urgent category, but balancing the other three. You just have to figure out a way that you're going to do that. Another really basic strategy for prioritizing is you have to first make a hierarchy of values. Once you know what your values are, it gets a lot easier to sort of slide your tasks into that. So it's like my hierarchy of values is like, don't get fired and then get a promotion. And so what do? Then that's like, all right, well, turn in the stuff I have to do and then work on this like phenomenal idea I have to present to the boss. Don't work on my phenomenal idea at the expense of turning in my stuff.
Right. Yeah. And let me put a little plug out there. And I will probably say this again later on in this episode, but we also understand that just because you have figured out what your matrix is or your hierarchy of values, it might not match your bosses or your partners. So again, go back and listen to our communication series. But we do understand that because, again, you may have a boss that says, this is the most important thing that we have to get done this month. And then next week, it's something different.
And if on your hierarchy, not getting fired is the highest one, you're going to be real flexible.
You will make adjustments for sure. Okay, so how do we become better? What are some hacking tips in this area?
Yeah. So those are a couple basic strategies. I think we're going to try to do that all throughout today.
Yes.
Is we're going to hit on an advanced skill. We're going to tell you some basic strategies, and then we're going to go into some of the stuff that might be more specific or fun to try.
Yes.
Yeah. So one idea is just side-by-side comparison for, listen to me, be a therapist, your feeling about the thing.
Oh, I'm so glad you came back to feelings because you were yucking on the feelings.
Running away.
Last episode.
So if you're not sure, and there are some things on your to-do list, maybe you just give yourself a moment to kind of put them all out in front of you and give yourself a moment to pay attention to each of them in turn, see how they feel.
I love it.
Right? If you don't have a values hierarchy, let me suggest one for you. Danger, discomfort, desire. So if something might be dangerous, do that stuff first. Then if something is uncomfortable, if you could make life better by doing this, do those things next, and then do the stuff that you feel like you want to do. Perfect. That works in a lot of situations. I'm going to say one more that's nuts. People are, it is. Okay. But it works. It works for a lot of people, which is use a random number generator. Like if you don't know how to prioritize,
that's a thing that you utilize a lot.
All the time. I'm using the RNG for all kinds of stuff, right?
Yes.
And so you might, it works because it will go one of two ways.
Right.
You have 5 things to do, and you put a number by them each, and you use your random number generator, and it tells you the order you're going to do them. So then either you follow the order, and then you get more stuff done, and you're not stuck in a pit of not knowing what to do first because you're doing something, or you look at the order it gave you, and it's so obviously wrong. And it's immediately wrong. And if you can tell it's immediately wrong right then, great. Now you know the order.
Perfection.
It does work.
Can I say one more thing about this hierarchy of values piece?
100%.
I said earlier that sometimes, again, if our if our order of importance is to not get fired, okay, so you may have to make adjustments, okay? But I also want to say that it is kind of important to have your own prioritization and feelings about your values, because sometimes if not, you'll just fall into what everybody else's expectations are, right? Which isn't good either. So that plug.
That was so therapeutic.
Okay. There's that. And those things will get you more frustrated if you're not, and things that maybe aren't as important to you. So there's that. Okay. Next is planning. Designing an effective action sequence. Some basic strategies.
So one of the things that we don't do often enough when it comes to planning is plan. What I mean by that is we either skip the planning and then we're kind of a mess, right? Or we don't plan with a lot of detail. So I want to suggest that a really good basic strategy for planning is called imagery rehearsal. So don't skimp when you do this. Actually imagine the whole thing. Imagine it where it's going to happen. Imagine what your body is going to feel like when you're doing it. Imagine the literal steps with your feet that you are going to take. And you will you'll see how things fall apart.
Yes.
Right? And it just gives you a framework that we just skip sometimes, right?
Yes.
One other thing that really gets in the way for people planning is this thing called the planning fallacy, which is a cognitive bias that people just have where we just underestimate stuff. I was talking to my friend about doing, he's having work done on his house, and we were talking about contractors and how you just have to expect it to take twice as long. No, cost twice as much and take 3 times as long. Right?
Yeah.
So we always underestimate how long it's going to take, how much money things are going to take, what's going to be needed. And so if you want to account for the planning fallacy, and listen, it's not you. You're not the one person in the world who can actually plan effectively. Okay? This affects everybody to one degree or another. Just multiply everything by at least 1 1/3. How much time you need, how much money you need, all that stuff.
Excellent. Some other hacking tips.
I think a good idea is to not waste time thinking. I know I just said, do this imagery rehearsal.
Right.
If you're not going to do that, don't bother.
Okay.
Like, if you're not going to, don't waste time planning ineffectively, right? If you know that you get trapped in the trap, then just start.
Yeah.
Right? When it comes to sort of freeing yourself up for these things that you can plan, there are probably stuff in your life that you don't need to plan. You probably don't need to use all of that, ego strength, willpower stuff that we talked about last time, making plans for stuff that you do all the time. So do some of your stuff at the same time, in the same way, in the same place every day.
Love it.
Right? Just give yourself a break. And another way to kind of give yourself a break is to, for some things, and I think about this at home, at job, at stuff like that, maybe not like on vacation, but in a lot of areas of your life, there are things you're going to do more than once. So make a recipe and just follow it. You don't need to make it better every time. Just make a decent recipe and then cook the thing, Or like make this recipe for how you get ready in the morning and get ready in the morning. It honestly doesn't even have to be perfect.
Fantastic.
What do you think?
I was thinking about the if-then planning. So this would be like implementation of your intention. Okay. So if you, an example that I give to explain this, well, let me say this first. If X happens, then I'll do Y. Okay. So, example, I want to limit my alcohol intake. So I know that I have lunch every day at this cute little bar down the street. So if I am trying to not do that, to reduce my alcohol consumption, then if it's time for lunch on Fridays, I'm going to the cafe. That. So when you're planning, another thing to do, or that you could do, is just do this if-then thing. If X, then Y. Make adjustments, right? If this is something that I know I don't like to do, something I always do, something I could do, it's not what I'm wanting to do, or I'm trying to adjust this, do Y. Make a change.
I'm about to go on a little tangent.
I knew that was coming.
You could tell it by my
listeners.
face.
Yeah, because I got the look. All right, go.
That here's one of the reasons I love it so much is because you can make your if-then plan when you're calm and rational. And we have this thing called, maybe we'll do this again, more another time, the hot-cold empathy gap, which means when we are calm and rational, we are not good at predicting what we will do when we are activated and emotional.
That's right.
Or in the heat of one's moment. And so I really like the if-then because it's a check against some of the impulsivity and things that we've been talking about in these last couple weeks, where you can make the decisions when you're cold.
Yes.
So that when you're in the heat of the moment, the decision's already there for you. You don't have to try to make a good decision then.
What a good plan, Dr. Ellis.
Your plan.
All right. Next is organization. Arranging materials and time in an efficient way. What are some basic strategies?
A while ago, I was looking up organization on the internet just to see what's, decluttering du jour.
Oh,
so one thing is there's a whole world of people who believe that you can declutter without making a big mess, which that sounds like magic to me, and that's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The other thing that I kept coming across is this. It's like, what organization style are you? And it's like small creatures, like you're a butterfly or a bee or a lizard. I don't remember what the other ones are. And it's very cute, but I don't remember it like that. And it didn't make sense to me at the time. But the underlying strategy did make sense, right? And so this is a way that is working for a lot of people when it comes to materials. So my things, my desk, my files on my computer, that counts as an object.
Right.
Do you like your things to be visible or invisible? And do you like your things to be in kind of big categories or small categories?
Ooh, good questions.
And so I don't know which one of those is a butterfly or whatever, but those two dimensions give you a lot of information about what kind of organization process is going to work for you.
I like this.
I want to reiterate, it works for digital storage too, right? Do you want to have 3 folders on your desktop, or do you want to have 12 folders on your desktop that are clearer to you?
I thought you were going to say 59.
Or do you, I'm not getting away from this, 59 timers. Or do you just want to have the files I'm working on out on my desktop where I can see them? Okay, so that's going to be one of those things. This is customized for you. Try a couple
Trial
things.
and error. Trial and error.
Scheduling, to-do list. I feel like to-do list is your jam. Will you take us on a journey about to-do listing?
I mean, I get excited. And this is for someone that has a lot going on, which is usually most people. Again, to-do lists just work for me. And but I also really want to reiterate that it has to be a to-do list that works for you, that's customized. Okay? Because there are people that, and I love when you said earlier that sometimes we just need to get it out of our head and get it down, right? And I'm one of those people, which is why I keep something beside my bed even, because if I am having some intrusive thoughts and having trouble getting to sleep, then sleep. Having trouble getting to sleep, then it really does help for me to just get it out. Okay. And I have notes on my phone. We talked about that. I have a notepad. And so there's that. To-do list can be done in so many different ways. But if you really want it to be better, okay, then again, you need to customize it for yourself. These are all the things I need to get done at some point. These are some of the things that are urgent and they do need to be completed by the end of the week, specifically if there's a work deadline or a bill that needs to be paid.
Like a bill that needs to be paid.
And then sometimes it would be awesome if I could knock out these two things today. I'm not going to remember the name of it in this moment, but there is also a to-do, and specifically we utilize it a lot in work, which is, okay, these are the 6 or 7 things that I need to try to get finished today. I'm going to knock them out, but then knowing that if I don't, they'll go on for first thing in the morning, and then first thing in the morning. So again, for some people, this just creates more pressure and but for a lot of people, me included, to-do lists are really great. And I may or may not be one of those people also that actually knocks something out and it wasn't on my to-do list, but I go back and write it on there just to see the line crossed out.
Okay, I was going to ask you which kind of person you are, because I do feel like there are at least 2 kinds of to-do list people. Mm-hmm. One who likes to sort of check the box, mm-hmm. And then I I'll have it on my notes app. Mm-hmm. I like to erase the thing. And then my list gets shorter and shorter. Oh, and that's fun.
That is fun.
That feels nice.
That is good. I'm game for that one too. Probably all of the to-do lists. So yeah, to-do lists.
A million ways to customize
lots of
your
different
to-do
ways.
list. Can I remind people that you don't need to put things on your to-do list that can't be done?
Mm-mm. If there's not a completion,
processes.
That's it.
Like don't put laundry on your to-do list.
Nope.
It doesn't, you're making it right now.
More laundry. Very good point. Okay. Hacking. How do we improve?
Okay. So 1, try doing what other people do. Mm-hmm. If you don't know, if you have not been, an organizer before, just try something. You'll know if it's working for you or not. Okay. So trial and error. Now to say 2 things that are, listen, everybody's different. So the things that work for one person aren't going to be the things that work for somebody else. But there's this idea that if you give your kids an art project, you just give them some paper and some paint or whatever. If you let them keep it for too long, it always turns into something you cannot identify and don't want to look at. So take away your kids' art sooner. And I want to invite that to the people who get into the organization sort of craze, and then they spend a week and a half finding the right stickers to put on the drawers with the pen to label them. Mm-hmm. Like, you just lost a week and a half of your life. I need to take away your art supplies.
Right.
Like, sometimes you have done enough.
Yes.
Okay.
And sometimes, here's another little piece that I think is important to say. Sometimes it's you need some extra help in that area. This could be a diagnosis of some sort where you can't leave the house until all your stickers are put on in a certain way.
Therapy plug.
There it is.
Another thing, which is almost the opposite, is if you're worried about it, just double everything.
It's a good one. Time management. Using available time productively.
Time management is such a big concept. I
It
mean, I know you guys. We're really laying it on here today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's say time management, some basic ideas.
Mm-hmm.
One thing we need to know is this is one of those things like planning fallacy that everybody's got. It is called task completion bias. Our brains do not like stuff to be sort of open and like lingering.
Right.
And so we will almost always choose stuff that we can finish because we get a little like nice feeling about it's done and it crossed off my list, right?
Little
And
chemical dump.
and so we just had to be aware that sometimes we're choosing the wrong things. In terms of our time management, we're not using our time productively because we're focusing on stuff we can finish instead of what needs to be done. It's just something to know. No shame, just responsibility.
That's right.
Another kind of thing that is just going on with people brains is the illusion of productivity. And this got some traction some years ago in sort of like the workplace environment, which is like if I see maybe pre-COVID, right? If I see this person's body, if this person's sending a lot of emails, if they're, you can do a lot of busy work and it looks as if to your boss that you're being productive and to you. All right. So we got to keep coming back to that kind of values hierarchy piece to figure out
what I was thinking of when you were saying that is the person that sends an email at 1:54 a.m. Oof.
Sleep.
Please be sleeping. What else?
A good idea that has gotten into the world relatively recently, I feel like, that makes a big difference is what Cal Newport calls deep and shallow work. So shallow work is what? That's like sending emails or the small kind of piddly stuff that doesn't need your absolute like engagement, and like your full brain power. And so try not to let shallow work get in the way of deep work. We talked about this last week or the week before is kind of like block out some time.
Yes.
So that you are like unitasking on your deep work. And if you have if you have shallow work to do all the time, you can make those buckets kind of short. Do a every 10 minutes of the hour. I'll check my email or do whatever that is. And then something that came up when we were doing one of our workshops that we gave on this issue came up. What if my job, I always have to be on? Oh, okay. Well, if you have a job, and we ended up calling it triage. If your job is triage, then that's your job.
Right.
Right. And you need to be available to do triage, to handle stuff that comes up and not be filling that time with the attempts at deep work or maybe even shallow work. It might be that you running triage is your deep work.
That's it. Yes. Glad you brought that up. By the way, I'm going to go back to time blocking. It's so good and so important. And it can really check a lot of boxes, if we are doing that, right? Because the other part I was thinking in relation to, which I know we're going to talk about here in a minute, is procrastination. I think about time blocking a lot because I'm like, if you tell yourself, it's one thing to set that time to really get into the deep work, but it's another thing to say, I only have to do this for
X amount of minutes. Yeah.
That kind of thing, right? All right. Hacking. What helps with time management?
Well, you mentioned this last time, I think, apps. Apps work for some people. There are a couple apps that I really like in the time management space. One is any app that locks out your other apps. So I think one of them is called App Lock. I mean, and you can look that up for whatever your devices and stuff are, and they make them for your actual computer. They make them for your phone. You can decide, do I just want social media stuff blocked out? Do I want everything blocked out?
For your teenagers.
Don't act like it's not you two grown-ups.
Right.
It's us too.
Yes.
The social media addiction process works on all the brains.
Right.
Another app is no affiliation, by the way. We're not sponsored here. Is Forest. The name of the app is Forest. And what it does is it literally grows trees while so it does this metaphorically with its little pictures and stuff, but also the company donates money. So as you block off time to just do one thing, so for my kids, it's like study for finals or something like that, their little trees grow. And in the world, trees are growing. And I don't know why that makes such a big difference, but it does.
It does. It does. I want big, nice, beautiful trees.
So that's an idea. And although trees are good for you.
Right. For sure.
Something that I think almost everybody also has some room in their life for is they're going to balk as soon as I say this, but then I'm going to explain it, which is like manage your own schedule. Like, no, my this, my that, my kids, my boss, my this, my whatever I have to do. It's like, okay, don't let other people drive your micro schedule. If you are not in one of those triage, I mean, if you are not an emergency room worker, then you probably can decide in 15-minute increments what your life is going to look like, right? Even if your boss decides what you're doing this morning. So there's a little place to have a little bit of control, and to be able to really get in there.
Beautiful. Next is efficiency, minimizing wasted effort and time.
Effort, and time.
What are some strategies?
I want to put that out there just one more time, because I think usually when we think about efficiency, we just talk about time. And it's effort also.
Definitely.
And everybody needs that. So, because laziness is not a real thing. Okay, so how do we manage to maximize the effort that we're putting in and the amount of time that we are doing and do an adequate job? Basic strategies include, this is going to sound crazy in this day and age, but quiet. How about quiet? Turns out people work better in the quiet. Some people work better with like brown or white noise going on, but basically quiet. Yeah. You actually don't work better when there's a lot going on, or with music, believe it or not. Yeah. Sleep. And and engagement. So the more you're really in the thing that you are doing, and the quiet helps with that, right? The more you're really in it, the more you're going to get done in the smaller amount of time, right? And it's likely to feel good once we get really focused and kind of in the zone about what we're doing. Sometimes that is rewarding in and of itself.
Yes,
keeps us going.
Yes. Okay. Hacking tips.
I feel like when we've been talking about hacking, I've been trying to say some things that are sort of like easier, but I'm about to say a thing that's like super not easy, which is manage your emotions. Yeah. You cannot be efficient when you are emotionally overwhelmed.
No.
And so I kind of sort of mean, if your emotions are getting in the way, can you stop trying to do the thing you're trying to do?
Absolutely.
Just
give
stop.
a break. Yep. Take a break.
Honestly, if you will have a good cry and really have it, it usually only lasts about 7 minutes. So, that's an example.
Okay.
And it's science. Okay. And that was some science. I didn't make that up.
Office.
But when you're there, you really do the thing.
For sure.
If you're not working to maintain it or sort of traveling down a road. So it's often more efficient to stop and handle the emotions, whatever that is, and then go back to the thing that you were doing. And so, it's like if you're headed in the wrong direction, the faster you turn around, the faster you get where you're going.
Love it.
Right. Efficiency, finish cleanly. When you end one task and then you start a new task, we often have this thing that sort of bleeds over. And so when you are going to switch tasks, I know a lot of people don't do this, and they're gonna think it's nuts, but it matters so much. Save your work and close it. Close the door to the room that you were cleaning. Close the window that you were using, where you were making your PowerPoint. Like, finish cleanly. Save yourself a minute at the end to just actually finish the thing that you're doing before you start something fresh.
I love it.
So that we don't have that bleed over.
And then cross it off your to-do list.
Or erase it.
Right. Or erase it.
Oh, and then here's a fun little thing is people know this just in their bodies is like that you're more productive at certain times of day. If you don't know when that is for you, you could take your temperature every half hour for a few days in a row, while you're awake, and you'll see a little pattern, right? And your most productive time is often when your core body temperature is like the highest. So there you go. You can go find your own little special perfect work time.
Love it. Procrastination, postponing necessary work unnecessarily.
I love that definition.
All right, some strategies.
Well, I kind of want to talk about, I think there are a few types of procrastination. And so here the strategy is know which one you are, I think.
I've got mine.
I'll throw them out there. I'll try and do it kind of quick. Is like one reason that a good chunk of people procrastinate is perfectionism. Ta-da! Ding, 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 ding. We got one. Perfectionism is functionally anxiety. And so we wait and we wait and we wait because we're not sure that we're going to do a good enough job. And then sometimes so that after the thing is done, if we didn't do as well as we wanted, we can tell ourselves, well, I did it at the last minute. And it saves us in our identity. All right. So there's work to do on that.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I said that directly to you, like Dr. R, there's work to do.
I am very well aware.
I just meant in general. This one is well, no, I'm probably the last one. But one a lot of people do is they procrastinate in order to build a sense of urgency. These are those people who say, I work better under pressure or with a deadline. They don't. Well, here's the thing. They probably do because they don't work. Unless they're under a deadline, right? They push everything until there's a deadline and then they work. Oh yeah, okay, of course that work is better.
Right.
But working under the pressure doesn't actually improve your performance. And so if we can work with that, like I need urgency to get, it's usually activation problem.
Yes.
Activation, if you guys didn't listen to the last week, we talked about that one last week, it's that, right? I can't get myself enough energy to focus on the project. And so there are other ways besides just running up against your deadline. I'd say mine is probably the last one, which is emotional avoidance. Procrastination is like, I don't want to do the thing because the thing isn't going to feel good. I just only procrastinate on stuff that I don't want to do. Like it's boring and I don't want to do it, or like it's effortful and I don't want to do it, or it's uncomfortable and I don't want to do it. Then I have to have a little talk with future self.
Right.
And she reminds me that I have a choice about what I think about myself tomorrow.
That, for sure. You know what? And in seriousness, so since you're speaking about these thoughts, right, and these thoughts and emotions that come in, creep in, etc. Therapy plug, CBT. So when we really do, we feel this trigger or this negative thought coming on, right? We want to challenge it, and we should be challenging, right? So that, I must do this perfectly. I come up with that example because that's in my head.
That one's yours.
But we want to really try our best to cognitively restructure things. Or the other one that comes to mind is, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. It's going to take forever. And you could restructure that thought into something like, I'm going to do the best I can at this for 20 minutes. Yeah. All right. Some more hacking tips. What can help?
I think we sort of covered this idea, but let me say it a little bit more clearly. Like, why don't you check inside you what the heck's going on?
Yes.
Because nobody's procrastinating without a reason. So find out what your reason is, because there's also no sense in trying to hack it for yourself if you don't know what you're hacking.
Right.
But I will say for almost everybody, something that works pretty well almost across the board is do something really hard first. Maybe that's first thing in the day, or maybe it's first thing when I get home. Maybe it's my first thing after lunch, whenever your sort of procrastination period is. Because that little bit of willpower that maybe you have, if willpower is a real thing,
Right.
if you can use it to do the hard thing, suddenly the whole day is kind of like downhill in terms of effort. So that goes a long way for some people.
Excellent. Okay. Lastly, let's look at tracking our progress. So monitoring the status in relation to the goals that we've set. You know, how do we do that, and how do we do that in an ongoing basis, ongoing tracking?
I think one of the mistakes that we make most often when we're trying to do this is we don't set our criteria for success like at the front. So we're just kind of like vaguely trying to see if things are going well instead of at the beginning. I say, well, it needs to look like X, Y, Z, or this needs to be done by this time and this by this time. And then I actually know. I have something to compare it against and not just like my gooey feelings, which are not that good at judging stuff like that.
Right.
A second little pitfall I think we get into is we don't like choose a time to review it and see how we're doing. We just kind of do it as we're going instead of saying, I'm going to start this project and next Monday, I'm going to set aside 20 minutes to see where I am and adjust my plans if need be.
Excellent.
Right. So, and all of that is tied to having an idea about what we need to do.
Yes.
And involve other people. It's pretty unusual that we're doing a bunch of stuff in our lives that doesn't involve other people anyway. So whoever those people are might want to be involved in knowing how things are going, right? They might have some ideas about what criteria for success mean.
Right.
But they're also, you know, if they're nice people, can help you stay on track or help you troubleshoot when you get stuck. So involve people.
Work friend. Hacking tips.
Work friend. So a couple of sort of little things that are just interesting. Back to kind of one of the human problems that we have, just everybody, is called perceptual creep. And perceptual creep is demonstrated in this really peculiar way, first, which is like if I were to show you a bunch, like I'm just going to go back and forth showing you some squares that are either purple or blue. And I'm going to make it so that 50% of the time it's purple and 50% of the time it's blue. Once I get you into thinking that it's 50-50, if I change it on you, you don't update and say, oh no, 75% of the time it's purple. You start calling more of the purple things blue. It's wild. Brains are so wild and kind of janky. All right, so we just want to keep in mind that perceptual creep is a real thing.
Absolutely.
And as we're working on a project, that feeling, if you ever have that feeling like, I thought I was done editing, but it's not good enough. But it's not good enough. But it's not good enough. You are in the territory of perceptual creep.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So that's how you know, and you need to walk away. Another thing is, and we did this today, right before we started recording this podcast. You know, my body was not in the right place to do a jazzy, fun, engaging podcast, and so I just did a little Broadway. So now you guys know what's happening behind the scenes.
It was Chicago, by the way.
So you want your nervous system to be in the right kind of level of activation for whatever it is that you want to do. And so that's either something highly activating or something more calm and relaxed. And you'll do better, more efficient, more everything, if you can match the way your body is feeling to the thing that you want to do. And so I mean, yeah.
Put some music on and do a little dance.
Rev up your body or do some deep breathing.
That's it.
You know?
Excellent.
Okay, so that is so much ground we covered. And honestly, it's possible that we didn't say a single thing today that is going to be exactly the right thing for exactly every person who is listening. And so we want to remind you, you gotta take these principles and you gotta play around and you gotta see what works for you.
Definitely.
All right.
Yeah. And let me also, these are just, as we wrap up, there's some other points that we were talking about or thinking about that maybe didn't have their specific fit in an episode, but they very relevant. One would be if you do find that you have trouble with your executive functioning skills and it's getting in the way, work, personal, just and how you feel, then we're going to say get some help, right? And we try to say that each time in our each series. But who can help with executive functioning? Well, therapist. We can. At school, you have lots of school special educators that can help and assist. There are occupational therapists. There are life coaches. There's just a multitude of people that can help. Another little plug, we also do this for groups, big groups, right? To help.
I almost said the name of
a group.
Of the group who brought up the triage thing. I almost said it, but I didn't.
Okay. I want to also say and remind everyone that that everyone can struggle, right, in these areas. But we also know that there are some specific groups that might have a little bit more difficult time. I mentioned the young adults, the young people, but if you have a diagnosis, ADHD, any learning disability, autism, anybody with TBI, some depression, anxiety, aging adults. We want to make sure that you hear us say, we know that you may struggle a little bit more, right? And need a little extra help and more tools to maybe help yourself out in these areas.
I love it. All right. Should we crown jewel?
Let's do crown jewels.
All right. We've been giving you the same crown jewels for a couple of weeks because we didn't want you to forget them.
That is right.
But today, just a little twist.
Okay.
Crown jewel number 1. Anything that you do in the realm of executive functioning needs to be aimed at making your goal easier, cheaper, better.
Yes.
Okay.
And crown jewel number 2, it only works if it works. So we want you to trial and error. We want you to customize. We want you to just try, get some help, whatever it takes. But you'll start knowing and feeling it if it's working. So thank you for joining us for this series. Please stay tuned. We have another exciting series coming up. But we'd also ask that you like and subscribe and follow us and share our podcast with others.
All right, now's the time. If you have questions, email us at richthoughtspoorjokes@gmail.com. We will be happy to create some hacks just for you.
See you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to Rich Thoughts, Poor Jokes. We hope today's episode offered insight or possibility, a new perspective on your mental wealth journey. Tune in next week for more strategies to drive success. Please consider subscribing or sharing this episode with someone else because your mental wealth matters. And a few rich thoughts and poor jokes can help you live with abundance.